Hi, this is Rob Leo, and in this brief tutorial, we're going to continue to look at the Google site we've been working on. I'm simply here at Google Drive. I'm going to open up a new tab, visit sites.google.com, make sure I'm going to the new Google Sites. And if you recall, I was working on a demo website. Actually, I created an untitled one. I want to delete that. I'm just going to click the dots to remove and gets rid of it. When I'm ready to work on the demo one that I started on, I just simply click on it, and it should open it up as I can then edit the page. Just to recap, we changed the banner image, we adjusted the title, of course we gave it the site a name, we added some text boxes with some links, we added more text boxes, we arranged stuff on the page. Just want to encourage you to think with the end in mind in terms of web design. I hate to sound negative, but most people do not like scrolling down a page. I would encourage you to put your most important content at the top of the page, and then the least important stuff toward the bottom. But the more scrolling there is, the less likely people are to scroll all the way down to the bottom. It looks like people are lazy in the 21st century. But let's add another page to this so that we can continue to build content and continue to put important stuff toward the top of the page. Notice the pages icon. We're going to move away from insert for a moment. And again, I can add a page. I'm going to get real creative here and call this page 2. And click done. As it's building the page, you're going to notice that home and page 2, both of which are the titles of my web pages, is automatically building a navigation bar along the top of my screen. Notice there's a cog. Your options are to do top navigation, as you see right now, or you could do side navigation, which will put a menu on the page, and you can open the menu to navigate that way. You can always switch back, depends on your preference. I happen to like the horizontal navigation because it's front and center and people can see it, and it really doesn't cause too much confusion. If people are unfamiliar with the 3-lined icon indicating menu, then they might not know there's more pages. As far as pages go, if I screw up and want to rename it, I can always rename the page, and that'll give me the option of editing. I can simply type and again, press enter on my keyboard, and the changes are reflected instantly. I can continue to build as many pages as I like. I want to build page 3. Of course, I would give these more intuitive titles instead of page 2 and page 3, but just for the sake of the demo purposes. I can rearrange these. Notice as I move them around, there's a blue border. And again, you can see the changes reflected immediately. You can also make what's called subpages. So if you want, let's say you want to make page 3 a subpage of page 2, you can move this on top of it. And you notice that blue line with the white dot appears. It's really making an indented page below. And notice what happens to my navigation. Now I have a drop down to get to page 3. And again, as I continue to build, let's say I'm on page 2 and want to create another page. Let's call this page 4. Again, I can drag this around, fit it in line, and now my page 2 has 2 subpages, page 3 and page 4. And again, the hardest part about doing this is having an end vision for what you want your site to look like. I would encourage you to storyboard before you get started so you can kind of have a layout for what it is you want to do and what kind of content you want to add to the site. Let's go back to the insert menu. You saw me add text box images. I've uploaded my own pictures, and I put a link to a web page, a visual link to a web page. You can also add all things Google to your site. So let's get over to page 2, and let's go from Google Drive. And let's say I want to place a document on my page. Let's say there's some video content, for example, or an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Doc. It's basically looking at my most recent files. I could search my entire drive. I can find stuff. And if I click on it, I can simply insert it on the page, and it will visually place it on the page. This happens to be a Google form. Let's say I want to continue to add stuff from Drive. Maybe I want to put a video that I've created. You can insert that as well. And like other elements, you can move this stuff around and place it on the page as you see fit. Of course, you can also adjust the size of stuff. And as you move it around, you can kind of block it in place. The other thing you can do is you can set up an entire folder on Google Drive to share documents with your students. So if you have a folder already prepared in My Drive, let's say I want to share the demo folder, I can insert it, and it will place all my files. If I click the cog, I can choose between list view or grid view. Grid view gives you kind of a visual of what's there. List view just gives you kind of a bulleted list of sorts to see all your files. The caveat with this is, however your files are set up on Google Drive will indicate the type of permission people have to view your files when they're embedded on Google Sites. So that demo folder, notice this is not shared with anyone. I would need to click on this, select Share Demo Folder, and then in the advanced menu, again, it's set to private. So even if I embed them on my Google site, no one's going to see them unless it's me and I'm logged in. I want to change this because most likely my site is meant for a wider audience, like parents, like students. My favorite setting, especially for parents, is anyone on the link can view only. And when I save that, all the documents within the folder will have the same setting. Notice the person is now on my folder indicating it's shared. And if I look at my documents, they too also have the same setting. So back on my Google site, now I'm confident that this stuff will be visible to those that look at my site. And if I click the preview button, you can get a sense for what the site will look like to the end user. Notice there is a large screen view, there is a tablet view, and then there is a phone view. So it's giving you three options. Google has kind of recognized most people are mobile, looking at stuff in a mobile way. Notice there's my menu with the drop downs. And to get out of my preview mode, I simply click on the X. So as you're working, you may want to kind of adjust or take a look at least at how people are viewing your site. Like the other stuff, as far as header type goes, you could put your banner in, you could put your large banner in. We did this in the previous tutorial. I'm simply going to go back to title only. I like to keep a picture on the main page, but I don't necessarily do it for every page I create. Again, without scrolling too far down the page, hopefully you've grasped how to enter stuff from Google Drive and adjust your share settings. If you want to differentiate your content, again, you can refer to the color palette, or you could even put in dividers. Notice there's now a divider on the screen. I can move this around, put it in different spots if I want to, and that too will be a way to differentiate where my content lives and how people consume it. If you scroll down, you can also directly put Google Docs, slides, sheets, forms, and charts on your page. So if I have a slides presentation, maybe that BATS video or BATS slideshow, I can insert that on the page. And again, I can place it where I'd like to. And again, same caveat, you want to make sure that that is shareable. So if you have this document standing alone independently, again, from your advanced menu, you want to make sure anyone with a link can view. Same will hold true for any docs, sheets, forms, etc. If you do have Word documents or PDFs, you can search by file type. Let's say I've got PDF. Oops, that's a comma. Bear with me. I found it nonetheless. You could also embed content like that on your page as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Google Doc, but anything you store in your Google Drive can be shared on Google Sites. And again, caveat, make sure you go to your share settings and find wherever that document is and give it the anyone can view setting. The same thing is going to hold true as you continue to build content on your pages. Again, I happen to be working on page 2, but text boxes, images, URLs, uploading your own pictures, anything from Google Drive, and then your various Google Docs, all can be placed on the page. When we come back, we're going to look at how to do YouTube calendars and maps. Thanks for listening, and I hope you found this useful.